Are you thinking of moving to Redmond, Washington, but you don't know all the pros and the cons of the area? Well, this video, I'm going to go over the pros and cons of Redmond, Washington. Hey everybody, my name is Tova Williamson. I'm a local real estate agent in the Seattle metro area. And on this channel, I shoot tons of videos of what it's like to live in the Seattle metro area. So if those are videos you want more of, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click the little bell. You'll be notified every time a new video comes on. We get reach outs all the time from people moving here. We love hearing from you. We love helping, but we can't help unless you call. So give us a call, email, text. We got your back when you're moving to Seattle. So today in this video, I am talking about Redmond, Washington, and going to give you some of the pros and cons of the area. So Redmond, Washington, for those of you that don't know, it is a suburb that is northeast of Seattle and Bellevue. So this is downtown Redmond right here. If we zoom out a little bit, you've got Seattle over here to the west and then Bellevue. And so Redmond sits right north of 520 freeway and just north of Marymore Park, which sits just right on that northern tip of Lake Sammamish. So Redmond area, you're mostly going to be looking at single family homes. It's very suburban. The downtown area tends to be a little bit more urban. This video or this picture behind me is parts of downtown Redmond. So there are a lot of apartments, condos, and downtown area. You can definitely get a little bit more of a urban walkable vibe in the downtown, but otherwise, once you get out, it's definitely way more suburban. And then you can get further out. Even here, some of this part that's Union, Novelty Hill, still kind of considered Redmond, but it can be like pretty straight, like rural out here. It's really far. So just to give you an idea of like the different types of homes that you can find in Redmond. So Redmond's early days were as a small logging community, and it's really grown into its own. Now it's the home of Microsoft, SpaceX, Nintendo, AT&T. So there's a lot of big companies that have moved to the area recently. Microsoft has been there for a while, but SpaceX I think is relatively new, and some of these other companies. So it's definitely grown over the years and has become a place that a lot of people want to live. So let's just dive right in, and we're going to talk about the pros and the cons. So number one pro that I'm going to talk about is schools. So the schools in Redmond are part of the Lake Washington School District. This is a top-rated school district. Just with some of the companies you have here, Microsoft has been in the area for a long time, so it's just like no surprise that the schools are really good. It's very competitive and just, I mean, it's more very computer focused, like STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics of a thing there versus arts and stuff. But it is a very desirable school district. That's what brings a lot of people to the area, that they want to have the good schools that go along with it. So schools are number one. It's a very desirable area for people with families to move. Number two pro is safety. It is a generally safe area for the most part. I mean, this whole area in general is pretty low on violent crime. The biggest crime that you're going to see is property crime. But according to Neighborhood Scout, which is a website that shows you different crime ratings in different areas, you have a 1 in 954 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime in Redmond. So I'd say it's pretty safe. It's not a very dangerous place to live. And then property crime is a little bit higher. You have a 1 in 37 chance of becoming a victim of property crime. So that's definitely a little higher. Not great, but I think some of the more affluent neighborhoods, kind of like nicer things, tend to maybe bring criminals to the area, maybe that are trying to find some of these nicer things. But I think generally, overall, you should have a pretty good experience living and staying in Redmond because it's relatively safe, especially compared to Seattle. The next pro that we're going to talk about is parks and outdoor activities. It's very close to the mountains. If you head east, then you're getting into Snoqualmie. So it's kind of a perfect location where you're located, but it's close enough. Like the city itself has plenty to do. You're really close to Bellevue. If you want to go into having more of like the urban lifestyle, you can pop on 520 just to get into Seattle, but then you're really close to nature and the mountains. It doesn't take very long to just drive right on out and be out in nature too. Marymore Park sits just south of downtown Redmond. This is a really huge, awesome park. There's tons of walking trails, dog trails. It sits right on the lake, so you have access to lake activities if you're into swimming or boating, things like that. And so it's just a really kind of like ideal location, I think, between having access to outdoor activities, but then also access to like the more city urban lifestyle too. So you're definitely not like totally out in the middle of nowhere. You're never going to see anybody, but you have that kind of good mix. So it's a good kind of medium place for people to be. The next pro I'm going to talk about is jobs. So like I listed off, I mean, Microsoft is there, SpaceX, there's a lot of industry just in Redmond in and of itself. So a lot of people that move to the area have jobs in these places. And so it's very easy for them to just work in Redmond, live in Redmond. I feel like a lot of the suburbs, typically you're not able to work in them. You're going to be driving into the city to go to work from these suburbs. So this makes it kind of nice. Like you can have everything that you need kind of in Redmond if you're working there, and then it has all of the stores and everything that you need. So there is a lot of jobs to be had in Redmond compared to some other suburbs that may not have as big of companies in them. Next pro is Redmond is very community oriented. The downtown is a really cute little area. And then they have Redmond Square too. They have farmers markets on Saturdays. There's tons of events all throughout the year, especially in the summertime, different parades and things that go downtown. It's a really great place for families and to bring your kids to see some of these activities. Marymore Park, which I showed earlier, they do a summer concert series, so they have a whole list of lineup of concerts throughout the summer. So it's just a really great place, especially for families. There's tons of activities to do, tons of community activities. Like you're never really going to be bored in Redmond. So now on to some of the cons. The biggest con is weather. So Redmond is located in the Pacific Northwest. We're very used to our rain and gray days here. Talk about it on a lot of other areas too. Redmond is still within that kind of gray Pacific Northwest. So you got to deal with rain here a lot. When it is sunny in summer, it's absolutely gorgeous, but it's rainy, cloudy days. So if you're prone to being affected by rainy days and not lack of sun, just be prepared for that in Redmond because you are going to have it. Again, I always say that without all of this rain, we wouldn't have all of the amazing greenery that we have in the area. So you have to kind of look at the bright side too of it. Yes, it rains. Yes, it's cloudy. Yes, it's gray a lot, but you just got to get like good rain gear, get out there and go enjoy things still, regardless of the rain. Number 2 con is traffic. So Redmond is no exception. The area, if you're having to commute into Bellevue or anywhere else, you're going to be dealing with traffic. The city is very car centric for the most part. If you're living kind of downtown area and you're pretty close, you can have that walkable urban lifestyle, but for the most part, you're going to be pretty car dependent here. So if you're wanting to come here and live that urban lifestyle, not have to drive around Redmond, it's not really going to happen unless you're like right downtown. And even the downtown area, it's very charming and quaint, but it's not huge. So, it's only a few blocks of the whole downtown area. So the light rail is coming to Redmond. It's going to go through Bellevue in the Microsoft campus. So that's eventually, it's not going to happen for a while. It was slated to open this year, 2023, but it's been pushed back. So it's going to be more like 2025 when all of that opens. So if you're counting on light rail, you're still going to be waiting a few years before you can actually access that. So that's another con. It's just traffic is not great in the area. And then the final con that I'm going to talk about is cost of living. So Redmond, as far as the whole east side, it's just a really expensive area. It's very desirable because of the schools and the safety and just the proximity to Bellevue and to Microsoft and some of these areas, and then proximity to nature. So it brings a lot of people to the area. People want to live in Redmond. And so because of that, prices have just gone up drastically. So for May 2023, median single family home prices were 1.4 million, and then condos were 565. So if you're willing to live in a little bit smaller of a space, you can definitely get a little bit more for your money that way. But if you're wanting a single family home, you're going to be over $1 million easy. And these homes at 1.4 are pretty just standard homes. They're just single family, maybe built in like the 70s, 80s, suburban homes that have been updated. There is some new construction going on, but a lot of those newer construction homes, especially if they're really large, get even more expensive. So you're gonna be looking at like multi-millions. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're moving to the area. The housing cost is very expensive here. So those are some of the pros and cons of living in Redmond, Washington. It's a great place to live. I think the pros outweigh the cons. They're just some of those cons you're going to deal with no matter what city you're in the area. So Redmond is a great place if you're thinking of moving to Redmond or anywhere else in the Seattle metro area. Give us a call, email, text. We got your back when you're moving to Seattle.